Namaste, Jai Bharat. It's only for the last 10 years that nationalism is on the rise. Only last 10 years. It doesn't mean that there were no nationalism prior to that, but at the surface level, it has come out only for the last 10 years for various aspects, various reasons. You know things much better. But what is nationalism in the context of Bharat? But before that, if I am not wrong, nationalism is an instrument of oppression at the hands of bourgeoisie. I think it's said by Lenin. So nationalism is an instrument of oppression at the hands of bourgeoisie. If I remember right, it's said by Lenin. Where this is from here that you find many left liberals and radicals not only speak against nationalism, but don't feel for nation. You will find people not feeling for nation. They don't care for nation, but as a juxtaposing nationalism, there are people who speaks about internationals. Oh, for a young person who wants to be wide in his thoughts might get attracted, but various reasons not to get enticed, because you are nothing where you don't have a place to stand. You are nothing. No one will bother you. If you don't have a place to stand, if you don't have roots, no one is going to bother you anywhere. Not only in this world or any other world, anywhere, whichever world you think of. So there is must be a sense of belonging to one place. So let's brush aside such liberals who talk about spurious liberty. Oh, first, you see them speaking about spurious humanism, spurious humanitarian movements, spurious humanist discussions. Spurious, very spurious. Nothing inside. They all have their agendas. These days, very evident, they all have their agendas. They have their programs, and in all likelihood, such people make a living out of doing such things. So, brush them aside. Let's talk about nationalism. See, the first strike on nationalism, if you can recall, goes back to none other than Swami Vivekananda. Simple. In his time, he spoke to the youth to become Swabhimanis. That Swabhimana, we are people of Bharat. We are living in the Sanskriti of Bharat. And the Sanskriti of Bharat is what makes us what we are. So when you are asking a Sanskari Bharatiya of being Swabhimani, it has a lot of implications. Fundamentally, we don't live spurious lives. Swabhimana can't be achieved or internalized without realizing why you are to be Swabhimanis. What is there to take pride of? That's important. We have to be conscious, very well conscious about the rationale of being proud of this particular nation. We call it as Punya Bhumi, we call it as Dharma Bhumi, we call it as all those things rightly, but then many times without realizing. Why should you be proud of being a Bharatiya? You try to make a list of yourselves. I need not to tell. By yourselves. Sit when you're free. Make a list. For this reason I should be proud. For this reason I should be proud. You can also think about negative things, but then write them separately. Talk about positive things first. Fundamentally, I will give indications. I will not give you this list can't be exhausted, so I cannot give an exhaustive list or an inventory of reasons why should you be proud of. But there are a long list, a long inventory of reasons or aspects of which you can be proud of being a Bharatiya. One is that our entire Sanskriti is based on a knowledge tradition. There's no other Sanskriti in the entire world which is based on a knowledge tradition. Yeah. Bharatiya Sanskriti is an expression of Bharatiya knowledge tradition. And Bharati knowledge tradition is a Veda-Upanishadic knowledge tradition. Vedas and Upanishads are not religious texts as you understand religion, religiosity, religious texts, etc. They are knowledge texts. You just try to read the Vedas, Upanishads, or whichever the Dharma Shastras. Do they talk about do's and don'ts? How to worship? Of course, there are rituals in Rig Veda. There are rituals in Vedas. But the rituals have a deeper meaning, but you look at only the surface level meaning. There's a difference between periphery and depth. For that only you need a teacher to understand these things, which even Sri Aurobindo, Maharishi Aurobindo himself had experienced, because he went about writing a book on secret of Vedas, and he did not go beyond the first mandala of the first Veda, which is Rig Veda. Why? Because it has to be done through a teacher, because it differs for various reasons. It differs from person to person, place to place, time to time. It has a space-time context which has to be interpreted, understood. So, they are knowledge texts to understand. Whatever rhetorics you come about, rituals and gods, they have surface meaning only. There is always a deep level meaning behind it. You have to transcend the surface level to go to the deep level. So, even such texts which speaks about rituals are knowledge texts. Other texts, of course, obviously, evidently are knowledge texts. They are knowledge texts. And this knowledge becomes the edifice of Bharatiya Sanskriti, and the Sanskriti is an expression from such knowledge texts. So that's one reason for it to be proud of. Now go into the details. Now another thing, knowledge. Is there a single department of knowledge, or is there a single area of knowledge as you understand today which is untouched, unexplored by the Bharatiya knowledge tradition? They have explored into the depth of every department of knowledge. You think about yourselves, look for yourselves, see, try to find out if there is any gap in the entire ocean of knowledge tradition where Bharatiya Sanskriti had not gone into, or Bharatiya knowledge tradition has not gone into, and gone into depth. Just think, just try to find out. And if you really can find something, please instruct me. Put a comment and try to instruct me. And I don't think that you will ever succeed. You're bound to fail. But if you succeed, fine. Then you can instruct me. I treat you as a guru, if that is done. Is there any department of knowledge where Bharatiya Sanskriti had not gone into, which has evidences, textual evidences, then Shruti Smriti oral tradition evidences, apart from evidences carved on granite, solid granite available to you? Not for all departments of knowledge, but certain departments of knowledge are available in 3 dimensions to you. So this definitely is a matter to be very proud of. One reason to be proud of Bharatiya Sanskriti and Swabhimani. You must respect yourselves first, and you respect yourselves because you acquired certain qualities, not spurious, not just like that. Your self-respect must depend on the qualities which you struggled and acquired. Things don't come free. Nothing comes free in the world. You have to earn. You have to struggle towards it. And you acquired, you cultivated some qualities. You, of course, heavily borrow from tradition. Rather copy tradition. Rather parents. Rather teachers. Rather society. But at least for that you have to work towards it, to inculcate that in yourself. That should be the basis of self-respect. And when you respect yourselves upon very evident qualities of which you are very conscious of, then you can respect your nation. Then only you can claim, or at least feel, that you are Swabhimani. You have to be Swabhimani. In the national context, if you have to be Swabhimani, you should know what Bharat is, and you should be conscious about what Bharat is. I just mentioned one, the knowledge tradition. Others, you explore yourselves, you are a Bharatiya, you live in this Sanskriti, you are an integral part of this Sanskriti. Look around and try to trace. Do a homework. Do a homework. Sit, work, think, write, or speak. Then another thing. Two more. I will not give you more points. I just thought of giving only 1 point. Now I thought I'll give you one more point. That is, what is nature? This is second point of which you can be proud of. The nature of nature. Then this video may be going long, but I will speak this also. The nature of nature. Then our knowledge tradition, our Rishi Munis. I mean, those days professors were all Maharshis. Because that's the way. That is how a Rishi, Maharshi, is scholar. Either in transcendental knowledge or in empirical knowledge. But there are people both. So the nature of nature, how they have understood the nature of nature. The nature of nature is multiple and plural. Multiplicity and plurality is a reality with nature. It's nature of nature which is long realized by our ancient scholars. You can be proud about it. There is no blade of grass like the one which is in your hand, of past, of present, and also future. That is the uniqueness of nature. Now, having understood that there are many specificities in this nature, granted that there are many specificities, I told you each blade of grass can be different. Now, how are these different specificities related to one another? That is important. They are specificities but variations of something beyond. Philosophically, given Badarayana Sutra or given the Upanishads, we could say everything is from one ultimate reality. Yes, true. You talk about the laws in physics of the law of conservation of matter, law of conservation of energy. That's it. Everything is from there. And that's precisely what the Upanishad speaks of. Everything is from that. One ultimate reality, which of course is called beyond having quality, so you cannot comprehend. You cannot intellectually comprehend. Intellection is not possible because it's not given intellectually. You have to go to the level of experiencing, not experience as you understand in dictionary, experience in the transcendental sense. So coming back to the point, the nature of nature is multiple and plural. Therefore, the relationship between two specificities is not one that of contradiction and conflict as produced by Marx, but is one that of coexistence as produced by Rig Veda or the Vedas. I need not to give any other example other than the last sukta of the 10th mandala or last mandala of the Rig Veda, Sangachatvam Samvadattam, etc. One resolution, one mind, be together. Coexist is an implied message. That is the epistemology of coexistence given out in the Vedas. That's it. So that is the relationship between multiple specificities. They don't contradict. They are not in contradiction or conflict. Coexistence is the rule in the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition. One more point I will make before I conclude. Think about the Hindu Dharma. You have seen religions, you have experienced religions, you know that there are religions, but how do they have their places of worship? That's a general rule. One set of do's and don'ts, generally one God, and one way of practicing, one way of approaching, etc., etc., with mild variations. And even that mild variations will make you contradict and conflict. Whereas in the Hindu Dharma, we do not know how many gods we really have. They talk about 33 crores of gods and goddesses, fine. That I'm sure that's a kind of exaggeration, because there is no list of 33 crores of gods and goddesses written by anyone anywhere. And that list is not there, not because of it, not because it's not possible. So many, if Kailasnath temple could be made by our ancestors, they could have made a list. That is a need. That's a coded messages, like the Vedas are. You need to decipher the concept. 33 crores of gods and goddesses shall mean possibly all kinds of human existence, where you can choose and pick any god of your choice. It's all the same. And these multiple gods don't contradict and conflict. That's the point which I was trying to make. They coexist. Now look, come to the practical level. Somebody who is in a bhakti mood in the morning. Suppose he wanted to go to temples. Maybe Tirtha Yatra people. No, they of course take long time. Which are the places they go? They go to all places. Sometimes you worship Mahavishnu, start from there. And obviously Mahadeva is never left out. Then Devi, then Sri Ganesha, then those who want to live a practical life, Bhagavan Sri Krishna. That's a kind of God we need for battles. And today's time, He is for Kali Yuga. He is meant for Kali Yuga. Where you have to give, you give back. And Satyuga, Ramji. And you go to all kinds of temples. And when you move from one temple to another temple, the system there may be vary from one to another, but never contradict. There is no contradiction in one family where the father is a devotee of Shiva, the mother devotee of Devi, one son devotee of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, another son Sri Ganesha, and another son Kartikeya, another son somebody else. There is no contradiction or conflict. There is coexistence. So, this is our knowledge tradition. This is the epistemology of coexistence, of which you can afford to be Swabhimani. You can afford to be proud of, provided you internalize these realities which are present, available to you, in front of you. So the clarion call of Swami Vivekananda of becoming Swabhimanis, that's needed every time. Every time the society undergoes this kind of crisis, you need such people to give clarion call. You have to be proud about the nation, because this is a special nation with special Sanskriti, which provides you with an epistemology of coexistence of the multiple and plural. Nowhere else in the world you find it. Nowhere else in no Sanskrit you find it. They focus on contradiction and conflict. The other, it's thought, I said, the other is a threat. You can't perceive it like that. But that's the contradiction given our knowledge tradition. So these few things, two things only I said. And if you sit and make a list of reasons to be proud of being a Bharatiya, you will not exhaust the list, I am sure. But you keep writing it. Keep writing it so that you can show it to your friends. Give to children. Give to anyone who wants to receive, of course. Dana should go to the proper path. It means whatever you give should go to a receptive mind. Sit here and make a YouTube. I don't know how many people are listening, hearing everything. It's not my concern. If there are people receiving, they can receive. That's it. I don't want anything beyond it. So I don't care for subscription. This thing, that thing doesn't make any difference to me. But dana should go to the proper patra. This is an advice given to Shankar Bhagavan by Sri Parvati. The context, of course, you recall. Try to find out when she said this. So when you say nation first, today, it's not a simple statement. It has its own reasons. It begins with Swabhimana call of from Swami Vivekananda. Remember this context. We were not ruled by ourselves. Politically, someone else was ruling us. They made us colonies. Our own goodwill, goodness. So, national pride is should be an integral part of your existence, and you have reasons to be proud of, not spurious pride, like somebody says we have this, we have that, and you have nothing. That is spurious, and that is suicidal. I'll tell you, suicidal. It not only misguides you, I mean, it's a gross self-deception. Here it's a point of reality. You try to understand your Sanskriti, your knowledge tradition, and find out. Simple. You don't have to go into deep philosophy and understand things. You simply have to look around you and find some points and reasons to be proud of your nation. Something you find, yes, this makes me proud of my nation. That's sufficient. That will do. At least that must be done. So remain proud, Bharatiya. Nation first is nation first. Now, one more thing I'll add before I finish my talk. Pujane Guruji gave a mantra. Please realize, internalize that mantra. Rashtraya Swaha Idam Namama. I repeat once more. Rashtraya Swaha Idam Namama. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Sierra.